So I was looking on the internet about what best new comics have come out because I was looking more stuff to read, and one of them was Black Hammer. It is a new superhero sort of story by Jeff Lemire. It's original. If you don't know me, I love original comic books. Original superhero stories because you can do whatever you want. So Jeff Lemire, I am a bit familiar with him. He wrote Sweet Tooth and a few others. He also did a really good job on the new Animal Man, the new 52 version. It's almost like The Thing meets superheroes. Anyways, this story is different. It's called Black Hammer. If I had to pitch it, it would be like Watchmen meets The Wall. The Wall is like a Danish movie where this barrier appears and no one can leave, or Under the Dome. It'd be like that. Watchmen meets Under the Dome. A group of superheroes are fighting something called the anti-god, and this giant cataclysm happens and they disappear. And they wake up and they're trapped on a farm in a small little, hick town. And they find out that they can't leave the farm on one side. However, they can go into the town, and the barrier extends all the way over the town and their farm, and they can't escape. And they've spent the last 10 years stuck in whatever the name of the city, I don't know the name of the town, but basically all these superheroes are sort of at their end, hope's end, I'll go into the characters. There's Abraham Slam. He's like this Captain America type superhero without superpowers. He's more of a vigilante fighter though, kind of like Black Canary or Green Arrow without powers. And he is the most content out of all the characters because he grew up in the big city and it's nice to live on a farm and just be chill. So he is the most content out of all the characters. He's also the most friendly with the people in the town. Everyone in the town thinks they're that weird family because they never really leave. Some of the people in the superhero group cannot leave because they're too otherworldly. And then there's Golden Gale. She's like a Mary Marvel-like character. When she was an orphan, she was given the powers of Zafram, the magic wizard. And she grew older, but she enjoyed turning into a 9-year-old girl with superpowers until she decided to retire. However, she got caught up in the whole anti-god fight, and now when she lives on the farm, she's stuck in the body of a 9-year-old girl without the powers. And so it sucks the most for her because she has to keep repeating 4th grade, and people don't really notice that she hasn't aged, and she's the one that's the most discontent. Then there's also Barbalian. He is a sort of Martian Manhunter-like character. He came to Earth in order to find out if our planet was dangerous because they found a probe on Mars. He was also caught up in the cataclysm, and he pretends to be Abraham Slam's brother while Golden Gale pretends to be his granddaughter. He also doesn't really like living in the small town because he has a secret. The other characters are Talkie Walkie. He is a robot from a robot planet found by, I think it was Randall Weird. Colonel Randall Weird is he's very similar to Adam Strange. He's like a space explorer, kind of like Flash Gordon. And he got caught in the Parazone though, and it sort of undid his sort of biological makeup. He's like a phantom of sorts. He like appears here and there, but his mind is gone. He lost someone in the Parazone as well who didn't make it, but he did. So he's not 100% lucid, but he found Walkie-Talkie on a robot planet, or Talkie-Walkie on a robot planet, and they live at the farm, but Talkie-Walkie can't leave, and he's not allowed to show himself in public. And then there's also Madame Dragonfly. She was a woman who wanted her baby to come back to life, so she approached a witch who lived in a cabin on the edge of their village, made a deal with her, and became cursed with magic powers, and the cabin sort of is with her and sort of houses all these mysterious things. So she's very similar to sort of like a dark Zatanna with the house of, I don't remember Zatanna's house of magic, but she has that. That's also on the farmland as well. But essentially, the superheroes are not allowed to leave the barrier ever, and they're all reaching their wit's end. And the first volume is mostly just sort of exploring all their backstories. And it does a really good job of sort of showing how broken they are, because this isn't like superheroes have to fight crime in a small town. It's more like they have to keep their secret, hidden. They have to keep it all inside. It's very emotional because some of the characters are allowed to leave and some people are not allowed to leave the house, and it's kind of brutal. And it's also about all of these characters were pretty big shots back in the day before they had to fight the anti-god. And now they're, you know, living in some crappy small town farm and they might not like that. So they have to deal with that. They're not allowed to leave. Volume 2 explores an event. Basically, Talkie-Walkie sends a probe out and someone follows it back, Black Hammer's daughter. However, people start turning on each other and they sort of leave it on a cliffhanger. I'm not 100% into the series for one thing. I like the art. The artwork's really interesting. It's very similar to Hellboy, like the Mike Mignola, whoever does the art for that one. It's very craggy. It's very simple but inelegant, but it gets the job done. You can see some of the art. Yeah, you can see it. How I'm gonna do a close-up. So the artwork's pretty good. The storytelling is a little bit on the reserved side. I mean that in the sense that nothing has really happened and I've read 2 volumes. However, they left it off on a big cliffhanger, so they need to get to the point where things start to happen, because right now all they've done is sort of given you backstories. They've given you a lot of character development for all these characters, but they haven't really done anything. There is a major event that happens in book 2 that I liked, but unfortunately I have to wait for book 3. So far, Black Hammer is a really interesting offering. It's a sort of melancholic superhero story. And I didn't quite like the fact that all of the characters are almost rip-off of other characters. Like, as I was describing them, they're like pastiches of other characters. And we've seen that before with the Authority. The Authority are very similar to other characters. Like Apollo is basically gay Superman. Midnighter is basically Batman if Batman wanted to kill. He's like a mix of Punisher and Batman. However, those characters have sort of gone on to their own over the years. These characters are brand new, but they are very similar to the ones we know in current comic book form. But it's up to Jeff Lemire to sort of go into them into new directions and give them new storylines to show how different they are in overall in character, not on origin. So I'm hoping for some more interesting things. I'll definitely keep reading. And that's what I thought about the first 2 volumes of Black Hammer.